Okay, so this Screencast 6 is now going to look at the Polyline Tool, the Polygon Tool, and the double line Polygon Tool. The Polyline Tool here, is when you click on it, you will see there are 6 sub-menus here, or choices, and a little preference box. We'll just go through each one. This tool, you can jump between the different options here, as I'll demonstrate in a minute, so it's not like you need to choose one option then do one thing. So the first of the sub-menus here is just straight lines, so click, 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 and click to finish. Be aware that this is now a filled polyline. Here you can see that it says closed on the right hand side over here in the object info palette. Be careful when you're drawing these. If you're a little scrappy and you're not using the snapping tools that we'll look at in the next screencast. If I finished here with a double click, you can see there's a little gap, well, quite a sizable gap actually, but you can see there's a gap here and the object is not closed. This will become an issue later on when we turn things 3D. So make sure you finish your objects off, or even if you notice it's not closed, if it's like a tiny gap, you can click the closed tick box here and Vectorworks will close up your object. So just keep an eye on that. You can, as I said before, jump around. So I'm holding down shift here as a little tip here, so I don't have to be accurate with my 90 degrees. As soon as I hold down shift, it locks to one of the preset constrained lines. So 90 degrees there, click, and then if I go over and choose, it just kind of drags the line with it, which is a little untidy, but there's nothing we can do about that. So I choose now the curve with the point on the arc, and again another little shortcut. If I hold down the space bar, I get the hand and I can click and drag and recenter things without affecting anything. So anyway, I drew a straight line, I went over, I chose the 5th one along there. Choose a point for the arc to go through and another point for the arc to finish. Back to the straight line again, hold down shift, and then end point to finish. So I jumped between different tools, sub-menus here in order to draw this shape. What I want you to do is to have a little play with each of these curves, just to see what they do. You can create some kind of more organic type shapes with these. Some of them are quite difficult to kind of get your head around because they are all sorts of mathematical formulas, like the type of the line and the tangent arc and cubic vertex and all that sort of stuff might not mean a whole lot when you read them. But if you take a second to have a look at what Vectorworks is asking or is explaining in the little pop-up menu when you hover across them, you kind of get the idea. And like any tool as well, it depends what you're drawing and what the intended outcome is as to what the correct tool here will be. Like I said, I tend to use this point on arc mode most of the time, and then certainly in the tutorials that I'll do, again, simply click the point for the arc to go through, and then double click the end of the arc, or we'll just put an arc on the end of this object here. There we go. Quite simply. Quite simple. The last one here is is an interesting one. It's a kind of it's a fillet mode. The fillet mode means like a rounding of the 90-degree corners. In the preferences, we can set a fillet radius. So I've set it to 500 already when I was playing around with this, so I kind of knew what I was talking about. With this tool here, I draw a line, and then when I go to my corner, which would be a 90-degree corner, it's rounding it by the number that I put into the box. Yeah, see? So that's what that preference is there. And again, you could jump back and forward and change that for each corner. There are other ways of doing things, like any big powerful program like this. There are lots and lots of ways of doing the same job. So I want you to go and play around with all the submenu tools here in the Polyline Tool. Let's have a look at Polygon Tool. First option here is again a very simple line, just like we had in the first of the Polygon Tool. I'm just going to do a little thing here just to demonstrate the last two tools. I'll move this spiral out of the way. So the second things in the menu here, the paint bucket here will create a new shape from a bounding series of other two-dimensional shapes. So you can see that created a new one from this gap in the middle. And the lasso kind of thing there creates a silhouette, as they call it. So if I bound some objects again, it will create a new object based on the silhouette of those. Again, have a little play around with those. Again, there's two objects there. Should really, yeah. You need to be completely outside the box when you're drawing the bounding box there. Kind of outer boundary, you can close it all. I think I skipped over a corner a little bit. The double line polygon tool there has the control lines that we saw in the double line tool, but this time it allows you to draw like a polygon shape. It's not like a single, just to demonstrate the line was a single line. This one allows you to make a shape with double lines. This could be a framing or walls or anything. In fact, it's normally set for walls. If you see the control line, the preferences button there, and you have a look in components, we start to see determined by wall, and we can have different parts to the wall. There's a wall tool in the building tool palette here. Cancel that. Sorry. In the building tool palette here, which again looks very similar to that. A little bit of crossover there, which is not a bad thing. So what I want you to do is to go and have a play around with the Polyline tool, the 2D Polygon tool, and the double line Polygon tool, remembering that the separation is defined here. And we'll talk about snapping in the next screencast. Have fun.